Hello and welcome to Let's Talk Sport and another edition of Iconic Moments. Manchester United take on Arsenal on Sunday in what has always been a crunch clash in the Premier League. I am joined by Manchester United fan Jamie Davies and football fanatic Seb True taking the side of the Gunners this time out.
Boo! You're right. Sorry, Seb.
Hello there, fellas.
We're going to take it back to 2001 to 2002 season with the first iconic moment here from Seb. Seb, in this image, we can see Sylvain Wiltord, if I can get my teeth out here, netting a ball past Fabian Barthez to secure the title. Talk us through this.
So, Arsenal, first put a bit of context into this. The season before, this exact same fixture, Man United win it 6-1 and then go on to win the title that season. This time, Arsenal have a fantastic season, probably their second best after this invincible season, where they only lose 3 matches a whole season. The last time they lost before meeting Manchester United at the end of the season is in November against Charlton. And do you remember who they were managed by at that point? Charlton? No?
Alan Kirbishley?
It was Alan Kirbishley. So Alan Kirbishley. Yeah. So then they go on from there until the end of the season, a 26-match unbeaten run. They get 4 games from the end of the season against Man United at Old Trafford, win the title. And it's not a spectacular game, but it's groundbreaking. This is Arsene Wenger's second title, and it's a big one to win at his rivals at Old Trafford. So I thought it was iconic because it started showing that Arsene Wenger really meant business in this league. I mean, especially going to Old Trafford to Sir Alex Ferguson, the big dog, and then winning the match 1-0. Not a great match, and you could say a bit of a lucky goal, well worked by Ljungberg, but it was pretty significant that this kind of mixture of experience and youth got through to United, who I want to also point out United have fallen up front, which was the biggest flop of one of their biggest flops. So it proved that a lot of things weren't going exactly right for United, but Arsenal just started getting the upper hand on United.
Was that when Ljungberg had red hair?
It was when Ljungberg had red hair.
I did like Ljungberg when he had red hair because he was very good at that time. It was
extravagant, but then also that day Thierry Henry didn't play. So Thierry Henry being the top scorer that season, he didn't play.
Yeah, but what happens when you lose Henry? You just get another Frenchman. And look, it worked that night, didn't it? You know?
I guess, but I mean, yeah, he had 10 goals that season in the Premier League, so not bad. But it was just an amazing team that year. You know, you got your Pires, your Bergkamp, Henry, Ljungberg. We don't talk about this team enough. 2001 to 2002, they lost only 3 games the whole season.
They won the cup as well, didn't they?
I think they did.
They win it? I think they did. Yeah. I'm sure they did.
It just says a lot, doesn't
Chelsea.
it?
I think it was, Joe. I think you're right, because there was a time in the early 2000s, Chelsea and Arsenal always got to the final. So it was, okay, maybe only been twice, but my childhood just felt like, it's Chelsea Arsenal again in the cup. But that game was horrible. I mean, I think I was in bed by then because I was quite young, but I just remember it being horrible to just know that Arsenal had won it at Old Trafford. I think it was just one of those where I completely agree with Seb. I think with Arsene Wenger to do that, it's a statement. And look, it's a moment Wenger will be proud of for the rest of his life. I'm sure he still thinks about it. He's even just put out a book that I believe he talks about that season quite a lot as well. So, and also that was a time when Fergie still had a good team, but it was kind of those were the days when Fergie nearly retired. It was around that period when Fergie wasn't sure whether to carry on at United, and look what would have happened if he hadn't have. He wouldn't have won another Champions League, wouldn't have won another FA Cup, a few Premier League titles, all that. And it wasn't working for him. So, I think that's why from that point, Fergie learned from it and got them back to the top. But Arsenal United back then, the rivalry was absolutely real. It was bigger than United at Liverpool at one point, in my eyes, because we were more excited by Arsenal being our opponents than Liverpool. And I just remember, the Vieira Keane fights. I'm sure they're still fighting now via WhatsApp, like we did earlier in our group chat. But it's just great. I miss that rivalry, really, really do. We don't have it anymore. We really don't.
But this is also a season where they mixed, where the experience of the older players United started getting a bit too old. I mean, Keane got into his 30s at that point, and you got Laurent Blanc, who was playing at the back, it started getting a bit.
Laurent Blanc wasn't great either.
No, but he was a world-class defender in his day. But this is, and you've got Ruud van Nistelrooy, who was young and had the potential. So there was a mixture of both the inexperience and then the too much experience in that Manchester United team. And it stagnated a bit in that season. They finished third behind Liverpool. And also, as I mentioned, Forlan was not a great transfer, and Varane was also.
And we had Barthez.
Yeah, I mean, you can
one
question
Frenchman
that
Arsenal should have got. I mean.
Yeah,
probably. One thing I'd like to close this off with is, and this iconic minute is, Arsenal do know how to win a title away at their rivals. They won it at Anfield in '89, Old Trafford 2002, and White Hart Lane in 2004.
Yeah, good point. Yeah. Yeah, that's one way to do it.
Can't get more iconic than that.
So on to the next moment, Jamie. Your first offering, talking about tunnel spats, is from the 2004-05 season. We already had Pizzagate early on that season at Old Trafford. Yeah. This is at the marble tunnels at Highbury. You got Keane versus Vieira. In this picture, the referee, I think it's Mike Pohl, is holding back Roy Keane here, Jamie. So what are your...
Fierce rivalry of Arsenal United. This was when it was at its peak, because they were fighting before the game even kicked off. Because I think Roy Keane revealed in an interview that it was something to do with Gary Neville. I think Vieira had a go at Neville, then Roy Keane defended Neville and said, pick on someone your own size. Don't look at someone who's smaller than you. All that stuff. Proper, typical Irishman that you'd find at a pub. You just say one word, they'll start a fight. You gotta love it. It's Roy Keane at his best. And then what happened? They go out onto the pitch. They handshake. Vieira and Roy Keane ignore each other. They couldn't be bothered with it. I felt sorry for the little kid who was the mascot that night, hearing all that swearing in the tunnel. He was probably thinking, this is supposed to be my day. But no, I'll remember these words forever. That's how he picked up the language. Good for him.
Oh, I think you love that, though, even if you are a little kid. I mean, I was young as well at that
it's
point.
The one game to be.
You see how fierce it was and just think, that's kind of cool. I mean, it's not encouraged being aggressive in the sport, but that rivalry always got it. I mean, it was a shame if ever one of them were not to play against the other, but you just love to see it. And they're both really class acts in their own rights as well.
I think as well, it really was. I mean, don't hate me for comparing, but it's kind of like Celtic Rangers rivalry, where there is just going to be a fight somewhere. It just happens. People really do not want to lose this game. And I just remember the match itself. We went 1-0 down. I think it was Bergkamp that scored. Then we turned it round, and then we won at the end 4-2. And then even John O'Shea, the unlikely of people, scored a chip, or was it just a lob over the goalkeeper. And then I'll never forget John O'Shea's face reaction. He just goes, "Oh, it went in. Oh, my God." And it was a great match. I remember checking teletext at full time, and it said 4-2. I was like, get in. And I think even my dad was happy, and he didn't even he's not even a United fan. He just doesn't like Arsenal. He didn't like Wenger at the time. So, great game. We didn't win the title or anything, but it was just a game. It felt like we won the title just winning that game.
It was still a clash of two big teams at that point.
Oh, yeah.
Still a big clash.
Yeah, that's the best.
Yeah.
So what are your memories of this one?
Me?
Yeah, what are your memories on?
Yeah, your name's Seb.
I didn't hear the Seb. Sorry, connection a bit. But
that's okay.
I mean, not to be perfectly honest, not a lot. But you just watched out every time you saw either of them on the ball, because you thought as soon as Vieira got the ball, Keane's going to come in somewhere. Keane, he's got to be somewhere. And it was just, even the match was just brilliant. And I love the way they're so professional afterwards, and they talk about it in interviews afterwards. I don't have a lot of memories of the match, but I loved seeing those two play against each other just for the tackles that would break anyone else's legs, but they get up.
Oh, God. It's such a shame. No, you're right. It's such a shame.
I don't know if it's a shame, but it's not the same.
No. As in, I think it's such a shame we don't have midfielders like that anymore, like Vieira and Keane. I think we need more of that in football, but I guess football's become more soft, maybe. I don't know.
I guess someone like Keane, probably, if he were to come in this modern game, wouldn't make a career out of it because he'd be deemed too aggressive and too ill-disciplined, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, we need another Keane to sort out Erling Haaland. No, I'm
That's
kidding. Erling Haaland's great.
I don't know what you're referring to there, Jamie, but it doesn't sound good.
Be a leg broken in that case.
Moving on to 2004, Old Trafford, and another Arsenal title-winning side. In this picture, we've got Martin Keown right up in the face of Ruud van Nistelrooy in what was an ill-tempered game at Old Trafford, as Arsenal were going on to potentially become invincibles later on in the season. Talk us through this one, Seb.
So it's still early on in the season, and this is after United had won the title back in 2003. But then it was early on, and Arsenal still undefeated. I guess at that point, no one thought they'd go on to be completely invincible the whole season. But this is also a chance for United, yet again at home, to go first in the table. And I mean, whether you think it's a red card or not, Patrick Vieira gets sent off. I mean, 2 yellows, maybe rightly so. Now, the Arsenal players get very frustrated. I mean, it was a long time ago. But they get very frustrated and start ganging up on Ruud van Nistelrooy. I personally don't like it, but it showed a lot of character. It showed something that Arsenal have been lacking probably since that day, especially Martin Keown. Then at the end, when there's a penalty given in the 90th minute, Van Nistelrooy is the one who can, let's just say, shut up the Arsenal fans who have been on his back since Vieira got the red card. And then what does he do? He whacks it against the bar. Full-time whistle goes. It's 0-0. And Man United don't go first consequentially. And this is then what spurs Arsenal on to just eventually win the league. And not to forget that in the following matches, they play Newcastle, Liverpool, and then Chelsea, all the consequential 4 below them. So, well, they don't win against Newcastle and Liverpool. They go undefeated, but they played all those big 4 in the space of 4 weeks, didn't lose. And then that's when you got the feeling, okay, Arsenal mean business this season.
I think what hurts me about that penalty is the Martin Keown face as well. I mean, I don't like Martin Keown. I don't like him as a pundit. I didn't like him as a player. I mean, I'm not saying he wasn't a good player. He was a great defender. Him and Tony Adams were absolutely quality at Arsenal, but he's a bit of a yes man as a pundit these days. So
which is surprising because he wasn't as a player.
He wasn't. Yeah, I know. He's so different. Like, he's still scary.
Maybe he's mellowed with age.
Maybe.
Yeah. Even Rio Ferdinand said he's scary on the TV studio. I'm sure he is, to be honest. He looks scary. But it just annoys me because if only Van Nistelrooy scored, we would not be here today talking about the Invincibles. That's what's so annoying about that moment. So it'll always annoy United fans, that scene. But let's talk about what happened the following game at Old Trafford. Ruud van Nistelrooy scored the penalty and they ended the Invincibles run. So Joe actually asked me why I didn't bring that in on my list, but I knew we'd have to talk about it when Seb brought this in. So, I mean, it was a great day. That was a great night of football.
It's important as well because that's where, if I'm not wrong, that's when Van Nistelrooy gets the long streak of how many Premier League goals, how many games he scores in, which was broken by Vardy in 2015. But yeah, I think it was that was part of that streak. Which also asserted this is the part of the Premier League era where we start seeing Van Nistelrooy as the top striker he was. And I think it also proved a lot to go back and then score that goal. I think that says a lot about Van Nistelrooy as the player. Because he was in that game, I know he missed a penalty, maybe because he received the abuse, but he wouldn't react. He was just still concentrated on going forward in the game. Yeah.
Because let's be honest, when those players are screaming at you, you could easily have a moment which you're going to regret. It doesn't matter how professional you are. It's easy. If you were Roy Keane, for example, if that happened to Roy Keane, he would knock them out.
Yeah, that's the thing. And they all gang up on Van Nistelrooy that day, don't they? I thought, my God, what are they doing?
I could have lost my shit if that was me.
Van Nistelrooy did nothing wrong, but he's getting this abuse. And Arsenal have lacked that. I mean, I don't adhere to such, violent conduct of ganging up on a player, but they miss that kind of grit, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's been lost since that 2004 season.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on to the next moment, Jamie. I think there's a little bit of a hint with your background.
Yeah.
Here, on what the next moment is. Let's take it back to the 2011-12 12 season, Manchester United 8, Arsenal 2. Yeah, don't adjust your audio headsets. It was Manchester United 8, Arsenal 2. Jamie, talk us through what was a glorious moment for Manchester United.
I mean, it was a typical I'd hate to be an Arsenal fan kind of day. It was one of those days which, people go on and react and go, United have just beaten them 8-2. We beat them 6-1 once. This we're used to it. But yeah, that was a great game. But that was actually a really good start to our season because I think we won our first 6 games in a row. But Man City did as well. Now, what was interesting, I might be wrong, but it was a Super Sunday. We were on at 4:00, and City went to Tottenham, I think, and City beat Tottenham 5-1. So they were going to go top because of goal difference. But United were like, hold my beer. They go and get 6 goal difference plus from this game, and then they go top. It was. I know United lost the title that season, but it was a great
and
season
to goal difference to say the least after an 8-2 win.
Yeah, and exactly. I mean. It was a mad day, but it was one of those games, Joe, where the moment United got going, that was it. Every time we went up front, we just scored, which you wished could happen in every game. But no, Arsenal, that was the worst Arsenal squad I'd ever seen. They had so many players in that disappeared within months.
I mean, a backline of Jenkinson, Jura, Koscielny, and Traore says a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, Jenkinson was all over the place, and I think he got sent off.
He got a red card in the end.
Yeah, it was a terrible game for Arsenal, and I felt sorry for Arsene Wenger because it's like, how's this happened? Like, if you lose 5-2, 5-3 or something like that, at least you tried, but 8-2 when they really weren't in the game at all.
And they missed a penalty, didn't they?
Van Persie missed a penalty, yeah, De Gea with the save. That was probably then when he realised he should join United. But yeah, it was. I still to this day look back and couldn't believe it. But when you look at the Arsenal team, there were nobodies.
I mean, eventually one of them.
And Walcott does count.
You did
and Walcott
buy,
does include. Walcott is a nobody. He was shit.
Yeah, but you did buy one of those nobodies, didn't you, and won the title with him.
Good point.
So I mean. No, they were awful, and
look, and Szczęsny was in that team.
I just couldn't believe it.
Wojciech Szczęsny was in that team, and now he's at Juventus.
Well, I'll come on to Szczęsny afterwards, but it almost seemed like just kept going in. It just kept scoring. I couldn't understand it when I was watching it myself. I was like, okay, this is this is fun. What was it? I think it was 4-1 at half time. No, 3-1 at half time.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay,
Ashley
that's
Young
fine.
did
It's fine.
the goals.
But you don't go to 8-2. You just solidify at the back. You don't just keep on letting in goals or shots at that point. And there's one.
Yeah, you got to play with pride.
Ashley Young scored 2 goals that day, didn't he?
Exactly the same goals, pretty much.
Top
right corner.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. And you could also say that was probably the beginning of the end for Arsene Wenger.
Yeah, definitely. And he also had lots of other big goals, big scoreline defeats after that, like with Chelsea, with Man City, Liverpool as well, I think. And yeah, that was when Arsene Wenger, I'm not saying when he should have retired, but he didn't really react to it very well.
It didn't make himself look good, no.
He signed Mikel Arteta the day after as well.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
The question I want to ask you, lads, or something that I want to point out to you, is how many of those players have gone on to win titles elsewhere? You look at Szczęsny winning Serie A with Juventus. Okay, Juventus do have a bit of a monopoly on that league at the moment, but not the point. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain went on to win it with Liverpool. Yes, I have to bring it up, Jamie. Sorry, forgive me.
No. I mean, he did.
And Van Persie at United.
Well, I mean, look at Chamberlain, what he's done at Liverpool. He was wasted at Arsenal. People knew he was good, but Arsenal just didn't use him right, I don't think. I just don't think he got I don't know, I'm not saying opportunities, but I watched him at least 2-3 times in the actual stadium, and I thought, he's good, but it's just not working. Van Persie to United was an absolute steal. What was it, 25 million? I mean, the only thing I regret about, I say it like it was my decision, but it feels like it was the club decision, all that, was letting Van Persie go. He was great at United. He was only there for 3-4 years, and I'll be honest, we haven't replaced Van Persie. We haven't. Not a prolific goal scorer. I mean, okay, we had Zlatan, but that was only for a year or two. And this is Zlatan at a very old age, and we've got Cavani now, for example. But Van Persie was an absolute steal. Szczęsny hit and miss, I guess. But yeah, it's interesting. Like the moment Chamberlain left for Liverpool was the best decision he ever made.
Yeah, and I think you also forgot Francis Coquelin, who also won the Copa del Rey in 2018-19 with Valencia. Just to add, I wouldn't call it a big title, but like the leagues, but still something.
You can't argue winning a trophy in Spain when it doesn't include Barca and Real Madrid. That's for sure.
That's fair enough, I guess. Yeah.
So this is a message for any of the current Arsenal players that are watching. Leave the club to win trophies.
Actually, I can't say anything. At least Arsenal have won trophies this year.
Yeah. Yeah, go on.
Yeah. So let's bring it on to the 2009-10 season and your final offering, Seb. In this image, we can see Arsene Wenger looking like some sort of god, stood up in the stands, arms are outstretched. And let's be honest, the United fans probably taking the mick, but in a screenshot, maybe look like they're praying down to him. If you want to twist the meaning of the picture, Seb. Let's talk through this moment.
So this is, the 2008 to 9 season. Sorry, 9 to 10. Excuse me. And Arsenal looking strong at the beginning of the season. They win their first 3 matches. All is rosy. People are starting to question: can Arsenal get rid of these stupid results that they got maybe 1 or 2 seasons before? And then they go to Manchester United. This is their first big game of the season. And they go ahead with Arshavin, who's arguably one of their best recent signings. But then Almunia makes a mistake. And then that leads to the penalty that Wayne Rooney scores. And I think it's starting from there. I mean, you could probably trace it back a season or 2, but particularly there, that we knew Arsenal goalkeepers for the future, or for the near future, would just be bad and prone to errors. Even when Szczęsny was there, prone to errors. When Fabianski was there, prone to errors. And these goalkeepers have gone on to be better elsewhere. But it was almost like it was this mentality at Arsenal to just become this sort of mediocre club. And this is also a time where Arsenal fans started getting frustrated. It's been since 2005 since they hadn't won a trophy. And it was starting to look like a drought, which consequentially has lasted a lot longer than we'd have thought. But then there's also the part where Arsene Wenger loses his cool at the end. I mean, Jabi scores an own goal, another bad error. Then Arsene Wenger gets sent off for kicking a bottle. I mean, it was a bit silly. But then when he's standing there in the stands, when he's been sent to the stands by the referee, it's almost like he's lost it now. I just looked at it when I was watching it on the TV and I was thinking, he's now lost it. This is probably over now, this Arsene Wenger era. It looks like the end. So that's why I didn't want to come to a quick conclusion of saying the 8-2 was. I think maybe a season or 2 before, just that moment you thought, okay, it's really over for Arsene Wenger now. And yet we waited another 9 years for him to leave. But it was at that point I found personally that Arsene Wenger's time had come up.
It was funny because I remember it happening. I remember watching the game, and it was literally on the last minute or so of the game. And then I understand why the referee would still do by the law of, if he's overreacting to stuff and you've got to calm down the situation. But I understood what Wenger did, because he went up there and Wenger's doing that pose of, where do I go? How do I get, where am I going? And I kind of, it was funny. Like all the United fans had a good laugh with him. It was actually in a weird way, it was quite a nice moment, because you worry that despite the rivalry we had with Wenger's teams with Arsenal, United fans laughed and enjoyed the banter of it. And, it was only 2-1 the game. It's not like we thrashed them or anything. It was a close game of football.
No, but then the week after they lose 4-2 to Manchester City, and in that famous Adebayor moment.
Oh, was it?
I think it's important to note as well. This is the summer when Kolo Touré and Adebayor also got sold to Manchester City. Manchester City just got their investment, and you're thinking, oh no. I think this is a terrible season for Arsenal for that reason, because they started seeing Manchester City rising. Okay, granted, Man City don't make the Champions League, but Tottenham do. Near the end of the season, Tottenham beat Arsenal and then get 4th spot just behind Arsenal. But it was a really terrible season. They just looked flaky as well. I mean, they got 3rd, great, but against big sides, they seemed to crumble. And then that's almost the trademark of what Arsenal were for the seasons to come.
collapsing basically. But yeah, I did like that moment. That moment was funny, but I think deep down Wenger was kind of like questioning the referee, saying, "There's a minute to go. Why am I being sent to the stand? And how do I get up there?"
Yeah, it was silly, wasn't it? It was,
yeah,
but I thought it was hilarious at the same time. I don't know whether I was laughing at Wenger or with him. I think a bit more at.
Yeah,
even if it was funny, I just felt like this is getting beyond you, man. It's
There was a kid that looked like Rafael da Silva in that stand as well, I remember. But yeah.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the final moment of this iconic moments video. Jamie, your final offering is at the Emirates Stadium in the 2012-13 season, and a guard of honour, and one of the ex-Arsenal players who we previously mentioned in the video, Robin van Persie, as well, being the centre of it. Talk us through why you picked this moment.
I mean, I think this is my favourite moment between United and Arsenal because it really does rub it in after what happened at Old Trafford in 2002. Because Robin van Persie was brought from Arsenal for 25 million. He got given the number 20, which, by the way, we were on 19 league titles at the time. So everyone already started at the beginning of the season thinking, is this the man that delivers the 20th Premier League title? And let's be honest, he did. He scored, I don't know how many goals he scored, but he scored all the most vital goals throughout that season. The last-minute winner against Man City at the Etihad, which in my eyes, I think we won the title from then. And that was only in December, but it just felt like United had it in control from then on. And the fact that he led them out at Arsenal, and Arsenal have to applaud him, that picture says to me, and the Van Persie look just shows, I made the right decision. Because he was at an Arsenal team that hadn't won a trophy for 7 years at the time, and they hadn't won the Premier League in 9 years. So anywhere, so I had to leave.
Yeah, he definitely made the right choice to go to Manchester United. It's just painful, isn't it? That one where you see Arsenal fans, they got to give him a guard of honour when they walk out at the Emirates.
I bet it was horrible.
Oh yeah, it just says a lot. And then he actually scores in that game, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, he scores against Arsenal. I mean, they don't win, but they don't win, but he scores in it. So I mean,
I think it was a draw, wasn't it?
It was a 1-1 draw, yeah. But
yeah,
I mean,
I didn't know that.
This is also one of those last marquee signings where Arsenal just kept selling their best players, and it was like, where are Arsenal going now? What is this leading to? So it was like, I think a lot of people compared to the Van Persie signings to what Vardy could have been for Arsenal.
Yeah, I feel like
a bit past it, a bit old, but he will get the goals. So
yeah,
it was kind of that comparison.
I feel like back then it felt like Arsenal was like the Dortmund of today, where they've got good players. I'm not saying that they were good as Dortmund, but I'm saying they're going to sell them because they're not capable of challenging for bigger teams. I'm not saying
Van Persie wants to leave.
Now, but
I think a season before, if I'm not wrong, he wants to leave
yeah.
already. So
I remember
it was coming, and it was like, oh, now Nasri's gone, now Fabregas is gone. It started just building up, and then he was right to leave, and he obviously won a title. He was top goal scorer that season.
I remember his last season at Arsenal as well. He carried that team. He
absolutely did. Yeah.
He really did. And he was the missing He was the missing piece of the United jigsaw. He just absolutely changed everything.
Yeah.
So that's the last thing I'm going to ask you to do is, Seb, I want you to pick one of Jamie's moments as your favourite moment, and Jamie, I need you to pick one of Seb's.
Oh God!
We'll start off with you, Seb.
I'm going to go for the 8-2. I just couldn't believe it when I was watching it. I was shocked every time, just every goal going in. I was actually laughing. There's a certain point, like the summer when Barcelona lost 8-2. There's a certain moment where in a match, it just gets so ridiculous and so absurd that you just laugh. And I found that with Manchester United versus Arsenal that day. I just couldn't believe it. And especially the starting lineup that he put out there. I mean,
I was I was exactly the same when Villa went 7-2 up against Liverpool. Sorry, Joe.
I mean, they had Jones and Evans, Ever, and Smalling in the back four. I mean, and then Cleverley and Anderson in midfield. You couldn't help but laugh.
I know, and I mean, I love Park Ji-sung as well, and some people.
Nice touch,
he was underrated. He was underrated, Park Ji-sung.
It was a nice touch at the end to get a goal.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So Jamie, have you made a decision on your favourite moment from Seb's slot?
It's an easy one because it doesn't hurt me too much, and that is the Wenger standing in the crowd, just because we won that game.
Obviously, yeah. Obviously.
I might have to watch the highlights of that. It's been a long time since I've watched that.
Yeah, it was that moment where Arshavin was really, really good, and he was, for a few months, carrying Arsenal on his shoulders, and it was brilliant to see him play. I mean, even the goal is a great goal that he takes. So.
Oh, I mean, nothing beats the Arshavin 4 against Liverpool, or
I
the
knew
goal
you'd jam that in there somewhere. I knew you'd jam it in.
Or the goal against the Netherlands when in extra time at the Euros when he just turned up out of nowhere and just nutmegged Van der Sar. That was amazing.
I'm going to be honest. I didn't watch a single game of Euro 2008.
Get out.
Yeah, I was so annoyed.
It's actually my favourite.
Qualify.
It's my favourite Euros, that one, actually.
Yeah,
funny enough, but England wasn't in it.
It was when I first moved away, and then I thought, I can't watch England if they're not qualified because I just moved away from England as well. I thought, this is just going to hurt too much. It's going to hurt.
I got over it after the first game.
That's my favourite as well, Jamie. 2008, Spain.
Yeah, the start of a very special team, yeah. And then you had Turkey, who just upset everyone in the last minute. And then ironically they lost on the last minute to Germany. Never forget that run. That was amazing.
Well, that's it for another episode of Iconic Moments. Will there be more iconic moments in the next Arsenal and Chelsea fixture? Who knows? Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and we'll see you all very soon.